Waste a bomb to get a bomb. Makes sense, doesn't it? Not really, but waste a bomb to get a bomb. Yeah, it crashed. Well, not the game, just the camera. I went to check your comment, and because I'm on a PS4, so I went to check your comment, and it froze, and then it said there was an error, and then it restarted me back at the system menu, but the game was still running. Alright, I gotta get that extra curse room. Load up. Load up. I hope that's a temporary flight. It would be nice if it was. Yes! I love the temporary flight. Ancient recall. Let's see what we got here. Don't care for the 2 hearts. The diamonds one is good if I had diamonds. Or coins, I guess you could say. What, I got 2 coins? That'd double up to 4? Yeah, okay, I'm on that. Let's see if I can pop some coins out of this. Nope. I'll save the diamonds for the next one, I guess. Probably a secret room right here. Oh, then here? No, I guess not. Let's hope I don't get killed. Try to stay away from them and just plug them. Where are you from? Here, I'm gonna put your comments up. I'm gonna put your comments up on the screen. Super secret might be at the room outside the shop, bottom wall. Oh, it took my my golden heart. Now it's gonna kill me. Just gotta keep moving. HP up. You said there's a super secret at the bottom wall. I don't got any bombs anyways to blow it up. I hate these guys. Health down. Go fucking figure. Go figure. Hagwas.
Rune shard.
I try to stop before I run into the bitch. Oh, I run into it. Oh, I beat a lot of the bosses. I'll show you when I'm done this. I'll go to the beastie area and show you. I beat a lot of the bosses though. But not all of them. Like there's some I haven't even seen yet. Like I've beaten Satan, I've beaten Mom, I've beaten Isaac. But there's some I haven't seen yet. Like I've beaten Greed. Like the Greed boss in the showroom. But I noticed that there's Greed and then there's Greedier, and I don't seem to have Greedier, and I don't know why, because I got all the DLC, so maybe I unlock it as they go on. I'll show you though once this round's done. I'll show you what I have. So, I suppose that worked out. Hey, where'd my diamond card go? I know I had the diamond card, but I don't think I used it. Must have been something I picked up. Oh, it's all the way up in that room. I didn't even notice that I dropped it. You know that? Like I picked up that shit and I left the diamond card. That'd give me 28 coins. I didn't even notice that I dropped it. That's crazy. Have you played the game before? The Binding of Isaac? I didn't kill him this time. I get so sick of them things hitting me all the time like that. Yeah, I did that. You see, I've already had the donation machine up to 999. Then when I put in the coin for the 1,000, a bunch of coins popped out and then it reset it on me. But yeah, beat Delirium last night. Nice. I don't know. Oh, is that the boss, Delirium? What do you play on? Computer or PlayStation? Or Xbox? I don't know. I don't know if they got it for Xbox, but I play on the PS4. Oh, you bastard. See? And I got hit by both. I love it. Not really, but... Oh, nice. I got 3 laptops, but I've never played it on the computer. Is it better on the computer, or is it better on the... Like, I don't know. I find it would be hard to use the, get off me. The letters to move you around, like... I find that would be awkward. Secret room? Oh, I don't want to waste the bomb. Could be a secret room though. See, it's these guys here trying to kill them and shit, because after you blow them up, you don't get used to the maggots spitting out the four things going. To get to there, you gotta beat Isaac or Satan 5 times each, then beat the boss after them at least once, then be at Hush once. Or, then beat Hush once. And then you... I don't think I've done it. I don't think I've played Delirium. I'll have to check it out. I don't think I have though. I hate these bone guys. The skeletons that throw bones at you. I hate them. I think they're the guys that I hate the most. Mods, what do you mean? Like you can put your own preferences in or something? Like how much health you have, or like what kind of pickups you can get and stuff? You can just do that? Nice, nice. Actually, I've had this game for a while, but I've never played any of the challenges. Like, this is the first time I started the challenges, so... And there's things I've just learned recently, like... I didn't know that you have to, like, all the hits when you get hit and stuff, it takes away from seeing the devil room, and there's an angel room. I don't know how to get the angel room or the devil room. I just figured the devil room out. Where it says that on the side there where you got that little devil's head, the more every time you get hit, it takes away from your percentage of seeing the devil's room. I didn't know that. And I swear I've had this game for a while, like since when it first come out. And with learning shit with this game. Yeah, I just learned that. And I tell you, like, I've been playing this for fucking while, dude, like years. Oh, I don't want that. Yeah, I know that. Like when you use it on the mother, on the foot, and on the heart, it kills them instantly, eh? And you just click it and it kills them. It's the temporary flight one that does it. I don't know if the reusable soul one does anything like that, but I think there's a secret room here. No, I guess not. That's actually why I grabbed the temporary flight, because you don't have to really battle the mum or anything. Nice. I didn't know that. So if you use the Bible during the Satan fight, it kills you instead of you killing it? I didn't know that at all. What's Chaos? Chaos card. I wonder what that does. Yeah, there's so many little things in this game. Like that Edmund McMillan, the guy who made it, did an excellent job with it. There's another game I want to try too that I've been seeing lately. It's called Mugenics. Now I've seen that. I've seen a couple thumbnails on it, but it looks like it might be all right. Mugenics. Is there an X-Rock in here? Yeah, it looks alright. Mind you, I don't know, like, I haven't watched any video game on it, like gameplay on it yet. But where is it you're from, dude? I'm from Canada, Ontario. I'm like an hour outside of Toronto. Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. Okay, I got a blue heart, so I can go over and do the blue room. Maybe it'll have something up in it. Ooh, I thought the bomb was gonna... Nice. Where are you, like by France or the UK? Or Germany, out that way? Ah, nice. That's crazy what our government's doing to the world, eh? You know, you think? Like, they've gone right nuts, like, collapsed the whole Western society, you know? It's crazy. Ah, Italy's nice. Italy's nice. But you know what? Did you know that there's actually a prophecy that was written 10,000 years ago that talks about when Vesuvius starts to erupt, World War III will come. When it starts to become active, World War III isn't too far down the road from that point, it says. And it also says Italy will have 4 or 5 volcanoes that erupt. And it'll cause severe hardship in Italy. And these volcanoes are called Mount Stromboli, Mount Etna, Mount Marsili, Campi Flegrei, and Mount Vesuvius. All 5 of them are going to erupt. And when that happens, it says it's going to cause severe hardship. Have you ever listened to the Billy Meyer prophecies, the Enoch prophecies from 1981? While I play this, I'm gonna play the prophecies, and he talks about Britain in here too. He talks about the tape that I'm gonna play. He made it in 1992, and it's of a guy who wrote all this stuff down in the 1950s. And it talks about how Britain or the UK will be wiped out, and the political party over in the UK there, or Britain, is going to sell out the country type thing. And it's crazy, dude. Like, I don't know if you ever heard the Billy Meyer prophecies, but I'm going to play them here. Right here.
It's called The Prophecies because...
Can you hear that okay?
It's based on a book that Billy wrote called The Prophecies. But the prophecies, most of them anyway, don't come from him. They're a collection of information from different sources. Throughout the contact notes, in several cases and several times, they gave him some prophetic things that would happen in the near future. For instance, in 75, Billy asked for any predictions for the coming year. And they would give him some predictions, usually just within the next coming year's time for the general area. But most of these predictions were all based just on political events and maybe a large snowfall causing damage, local crime, things like that. If there was any political problems, maybe leading to a death or an assassination, they would usually comment on things like that. And those prophecies generally would always come from Semyasi. Billy also got prophetic information from other levels. For instance, when he was younger, during his time of training with Askin from the Tao universe, in 1956, he gave him a series of prophetic things also, which we went over somewhat on the contact notes. And that primarily dealt with a span of time dealing with several assassination and murders of political figures, which she felt was necessary actually for events to actually unfold the way that they were supposed to. Billy also received prophetic information from what's called the Patali level. As I talked earlier on one of the tapes, on the creation tapes, about the different levels that man can actually evolve to, the highest level that we evolve to as a spirit form is called the Patali level. Some people think of this as a group consciousness level. Billy was able to receive prophetic information also from this level, which was kind of filtered down to him through the High Council of the Pleiades world. And that information was received by him and passed on also. So we have information from several different sources here. Askin, Semyasi, Patali, and even Billy himself, who understands some forms of future prediction, have all gone together to put together this little book. Now, some of the prophecies, of course, are from conversations when he had in the ships and so forth, but the prophecies that came from the Patali level were of a different kind. When you receive transmissions from a higher life form like this, they don't come in the form of language. They come in the form of symbols, and that comes through on what's called spiritual telepathy. Spiritual telepathy, unlike material or primary telepathy, is very, very long range, and it doesn't come in an audible form. It comes in a series of symbols, which the person who's a student understands it then, must then convert the symbols into language and tell the story properly. So one has to be trained and understand the symbol language very well to be able to do that. When Billy was very young, part of his consciousness and memory and abilities and knowledge of the symbol language was unlocked, and over the years of study and so forth, he learned more and more about this, so he was able then to convert the symbols into language. Billy's own predictions are not the result of any type of future vision, but Kabbalistic calculations. The transmissions that he gets from ETs and higher spiritual levels are more accurate and far more sweeping as far as the type of information they can get. Billy then receives these types of transmissions in the spiritual language of symbols, and then he translates them into our language. This is different, he says, than the abilities of seers, he calls, who we normally, some other prophets and seers who give us, in our modern times, give us prophetic statements. He says they see the future usually through their own psychic abilities, and it isn't from the spiritual language that he's talking about. The problem therein is that without use of obtaining information through the symbol language, the prophecies generally will always be a mixture of the own individual's egos, fears, and desires, and they're never very accurate. I think we're seeing that in our own time. There's an awful lot of people, psychics, and people predicting things one thing and the other. but they're never really very accurate. Maybe they are accurate on a few things, and then they're way off on others. So there certainly isn't any continuing high probability of accuracy by anybody that I know of. So what Billy's talking about is there can be an exact science to seeing the future, because such does exist, but it involves the knowledge of a particular language of symbols that most people, or practically no one else on the planet, really has any knowledge of. Interesting thing about the prophecies, the way they're written, and in many areas they're very vague, and in many areas it kind of prompts you to ask more and want to know more about it. But Billy says that he doesn't make any attempt to explain the prophecies any more in detail than he's gone into here, because he believes only a person who can understand the truth himself, when it is given to him in hidden form, is able to bear or tolerate it, is how he puts it. Which means that the prophecies themselves have some hidden meanings in different areas, and are a little hard to understand to most of us. But for one who understands prophecy, and one who understands future vision, or may not know some of the symbols, they would be able to unravel these mysteries on their own. And his point is well taken, that if we don't have the level of knowledge to understand it, then we probably shouldn't even have the information. He makes an analogy as to our stomachs. That just like our stomach, which is only capable of digesting digestible foods, it can't digest poisons and rocks and other things that you stick in it, that the human understanding can only take in what it can comprehend, that which it can understand, or what is digestible in an understanding form. If you try to take in information that's too high for you or too difficult to understand, it's just going to overpower you and probably cause you frustration, irritation, or whatever. Billy's also able to calculate a person's death and his past life, something that he was taught and understands quite well. But he says these are the sort of things that when he speaks to someone and, they have good reason to want to know about these things, and he's more than happy to provide that. But he's always cautious about letting predictions out too clearly, or letting certain people know certain things, because it leads, unfortunately, to, fear or whatever in that individual. Predictions, let me clear up a couple things now. Predictions, what we call a prediction, that's a future event. These are computed with Kabbalistic calculations, and they lead to very exacting results. Predictions always come to pass, he says, very absolutely accurately. That's because a prediction rests on an established fact, and then proceeds to a certain outcome or effect that has to take place because of the factual knowledge that it started with. So it's kind of like logic. If you take a logical statement and allow it to move forward, it comes to a logical conclusion by virtue of its own clarity of thought and truth. So prediction seems to be something like that. If you start with an established fact, you can calculate then the result, more or less, of that prediction or that fact has been started in motion. So it's very exacting. Prophecy, though, is slightly different. He says they're different. And a prophecy is generally just like a warning function. It can show an end result, but that result might come from certain facts if there's no change happens in a certain time. So it's like a warning about something to happen, but free will could come into play there. But if no free will comes in or nothing gets involved, then the prophecy becomes a prediction, and he says will surely come to pass. So we have some difference here between a prediction and a prophecy. A prediction is something that's almost absolute, that can be calculated based on known facts and will almost have a positive outcome. A prophecy is more of a warning and can actually be interfered with, but if nothing happens to change a prophecy, then it becomes a prediction by virtue of the fact that nothing was done to stop it, and it also will come to pass. Prophecy also is quite variable according to the free will of men, and that's the point he was trying to make in the basic difference between them. That when we hear a prophetic statement, it's a warning about something, and we have the possibility of maybe doing something about it. Therefore, it's not certain that a prophesied event will take place if it's changed by a good evolution. And what he means by that is that this means that a person's evolution, or in other words, your continued growth of knowledge, accumulation of spiritual knowledge, that has to happen without the knowledge of a prophesied event getting in the way or interfering with your natural course of evolution.
I want to save that for saying, like, everything happens, it can screw you over, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to blow up that machine. But go figure. Like a bomb comes and I shoot away from this guy. It goes right over to the fucking machine and blows it up. Like, really?
Maybe you react differently, or you just change the course of events in your life. You have then interfered with your normal evolution, which would run its course and provide certain kinds of learning. So, in this respect, then prophecies get
I'd like to get slide lock. There we go.
Especially if he doesn't actually understand the ending or what's going to happen. Prophecies usually only demonstrate one possibility, and at the same time, they just demonstrate one type of warning. So we have to regard prophecies then as something that one can't be changed because of free will, and regard them as kind of a warning then. Prophecies should never be clearly revealed, he says, because the person then will make changes in an evolution. The evolution then is thrown off because the person does something that he normally wouldn't. Also, there's certain events in a prophecy which usually should be kept secret, because here he's insinuating that one of the problems with prophecy is that people overreact. And I see that even today, where people are becoming more and more sensitive about predictions that psychics make and so forth about the great earthquake in California or the entire West Coast sinking into the water. These things can cause great fear and disruption in people's lives. I know several people right now who have really disrupted their entire lives, moving their families, losing their jobs, selling their homes and so forth, out of fear because of predictions that they read in the paper or in newsletters that are being circulated around the country. And this, for people who are slightly unstable and are easily drawn to fear or negative things, this is very disruptive to them. They just can't help themselves. And so it really is not serving, the proper interest that the predictor probably had in mind. You have to be very careful when you predict things and come about your predictions, like saying that they are real, that they're really going to happen, because it can be very disruptive to people's lives, and like I say, causing people an awful lot of fear, and we certainly don't want that. Certain information within prophecies must also be kind of vague, he says, so only people with a certain level of understanding would be capable of decoding them. I guess that would be similar to like Nostradamus.
Speed this up to the prophecy.
With, dates, pole, and on the bottom pole, there is sort of a hexagon area at the top that seems to be receiving not the great explosion in the middle that we think it is, which could unleash untold problems. The 60s that not the great explosion in the middle that we think it is. So possibly the sun somehow do receive energy from other dimensions, and that could be perhaps what the ETs were worried about in the 60s, that if we were to set off some of these devices which could upset actually the solar system, some sort of energy or effect could be set off affecting other dimensions, which could unleash untold problems that may in effect actually destroy part of the universe as they were so worried about. Intervene in mankind to prevent those certain events from happening. So, good for her. There was warnings always from ASCA during those times, too, where she talked about future events back in the 56, that, which actually pertain to now, because she was talking about, America, Russia, and China are pushing for, like, world domination. They're kind of fighting it out. Well, Russia, of course, has broke up. And that's changed a little bit, and China hasn't really played their hand yet. Because at this particular time, we have to be very careful of the Jewish Zionists, who are plotting a lot of murderous deeds and violence and terrorism, and actually are working in conjunction with certain Christian religions to take over certain areas of the world. So apparently, in the face of the might of America and Russia and other countries, in China, certain elements of the Jewish people, the Jewish Zionists, and certain Christian groups are plotting actually how they could take over certain parts of the planet themselves. It's mentioned in here that the people of Earth should take care not to help Israel, for every small assistance is refunctioned by them into a deadly weapon against the back at us. So historically, it's talking about that they're suggesting that it's going to be a natural event for the destruction of Israel, and it is for the betterment of mankind. Not that death is good, it's just that we are not aware really of what a terrible part that Israel will actually play in the mass destruction and loss of life on the planet Earth. There was a whole series of prophecies given to Billy then in 1956, which are now quite a few years old. And I'll just dash over them for you. I had gone over them a little bit in the contact notes themselves, but since we have a tape here just on prophecies, I'll reiterate some of these events because it's important also to note that these events have all come to pass and with terrible accuracy. I say terrible because we're going to read off a list of deaths here and so forth. And all these events came to pass exactly as Askett said they would, which only confirms again their very incredible technology and their abilities. She says the unavoidable events of the future, and here she's talking in 1956, she says these events will happen with absolute exactness and accuracy, just as she's about to explain them to Billy. And I'll just run over them because I have gone over them one more time. She first talked about the murder of Joseph Stalin, which will be on March 5th, 1953, and that was done by the party itself. It says here that Stalin was showing too much friendliness towards the Jewish Zionist terrorists, and so for that reason he was poisoned. He mentions in there also his successor, Nikita Khrushchev, will be forced out of office in '64, and that was to give the rationalized Zionist hostility its last form, was the expression.
You wanted to see the bosses I beat,
during that time period in America, Fitzgerald Kennedy will be elected to office, but he will be murdered in '63, it says, by the secret order of the American Security Organization, the CIA.
See, there's some I haven't even seen.
His death will be November 22nd, 1962 in Dallas, Texas. It says there will be a second political assassination following just 5 years after that.
If you go to like the bosses, the rooms where the bosses
presidential candidate will be killed.
Well, you get the 4 bosses, and then you get the actual boss, which is like the Montard, Satan.
It says the Holy Office, in Rome will also be pulled into worldwide political and religious intrigue. Just the same as with Stalin, a poison will be used to kill Pope John XIII.
Like these are 4 bosses, right? Like for the wars that you go to,
so this will be removed by the same method by intrigues, it says, of the cardinals,
then you get the
in
actual
cooperation
bosses
again with the Jewish Zionist extremists.
Like this is Mom,
who for quite some time have already been planning their murderous schemes and are trying to direct the future events, to their own will. Excuse me. Greece is also chosen, it says, for the assassination of head of state. For the future, lets it be known that King Paul I will die on March 6, 1964, using the same poison
this is
as
probably
some of the
death,
others have been killed.
Because I got pestilence, famine, war, and then the 4 horsemen. Well, the last one would be death,
He
right?
will be forced out of office by a military coup.
So you get pestilence,
because of his
famine,
childish
war,
inabilities
and death.
So it says Egypt won't be
Oh,
spared
there's
either.
death there. So what would this one be then?
If
If death is here, you get pestilence, famine, war,
poison just as years
death.
earlier. As his friend
What would
Emir
this one be?
Kuwait, who will die in 1965, poisoned at the hands of his own family. Mentions King Faisal in Saudi Arabia, 1975.
Yeah,
will be
there's
shot
a
by
boss
members of
there,
his own
one part.
family. She said this series
There's
of
the other
political intrigues and deaths were among the most important dates coming over the next 20 years, and Billy was very cautious at the time not to reveal them because these events needed to play their hand out and happen exactly the way that they were. She was very careful of not wanting to disturb any of the natural events of the future.
It says they
So
didn't kill
Billy
him, but I
didn't, even
killed
though
him.
they were all written down and tucked away for a while, he never really talked about them, and he kept them
Maybe
very
I have
quiet.
to download
The next section in his prophecy
because I had to
book, deals with
redo
some,
my whole PS4, and when you do that,
prophecies that he actually
like if you go
received and
from
some
one system
training
to
he
another,
received
if you
from some
re-download
posse
the game,
when he was
then
in
all the stuff that you beat
fellowship
previous
with her.
comes back
And I
onto this,
related
like the
this story
files,
to
the
you
download
once
files
before,
will be
so it's
reloaded,
closely.
kind of like
He
reinstated.
had a device inside
But I
of
haven't
the
done
ship,
that yet.
which you could hold your hand on and think about any person that you wanted to actually know something about, either the
Wretched
conscious mind or
widow.
the subconscious mind. And by placing your hand on this, you could actually read what was going on in their subconscious thoughts. And you could look into their future because all of our
You said
subconscious
delirium.
are
It's like a
connected to our future and have some knowledge of it. Well, Billy was shown how to use the device, which he did, and he chose to look at the life of General Francisco Franco at the time of Spain. And when he did, he was able to look into the conscious mind of this
little
person.
horn. That's the little horn from the Antichrist.
Afraid of dying, that there was a lot of fear.
That's where they get the little
and
horn
when
from.
the equipment was adjusted, Billy was able to look into the subconscious and was surprised to see that there was no fear of death inside the subconscious. And he was reminded by Semyosis that that's only natural because the subconscious mind, which is attached always directly to the spiritual subconscious, knows and is aware that death itself is nothing to really fear, that it's just a carrying on into a different state.
Yeah,
so
no, I haven't seen
that
the
part is in there as well. That explained how quite often
and you said that you had to
understand things
what was
about
it again?
us.
Beat the
On another occasion, Billy had been told by Semyosis that Pope Paul VI would be killed by his own cardinals. And Billy asked her later on, he says, something's going on here because there was a prediction that Pope Paul VI would be killed by the cardinals, but he is not. He's still in office, and he wanted to know what happened. And she says, oh, yes, it did happen. 2 years after he was named to the office, he was killed. And he doesn't understand this. And he says, you're speaking in riddles. How can I understand that? Pope Paul VI is still alive, and yet he was poisoned and is dead? I don't understand what you mean. So she went on to explain
I haven't seen Delirium
even
yet.
Pope Paul VI was recognized as being, he went against most of the goals and purposes of the Catholic bishops and cardinals, so they went into a secret conference and decided to get rid of it. So it was decided by a secret ballot that the Pope would be killed by assassins, and that there would be a double put in his place who would follow the designs of the bishops and the cardinals. So Pope Paul VI was poisoned to death.
But you see, I haven't beat it a lot. But if I download my things, like I've got all the badges for this on my other file. For Isaac, I've got some for her. I've got different badges for a lot of these, but because I didn't download the
pictures, books showing him in school and
like
his earlier lives and so forth.
File,
so it erased any images of what the man really looked like.
Me these bags.
Only on a couple of occasions also
and like I said, I've noticed that I've got normal, and then I've got hard, and then there's greed. And I seen on YouTube the other day that there's another one called Greedier. I don't know how to get to the Greedier.
That knowledge where it is beyond the physical realm and has total knowledge of all that they see and total understanding. On Thursday, the 29th of January, 1976, at 1:05 a.m., Billy received these prophecies. Now, these prophecies are particularly kind of stinging to our future because
I remember doing the challenges, but I just recently started doing them yesterday. So I started them yesterday, and I've gotten, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And it is the short story here, kind of about his life and what's going to happen.
I've done 12 challenges. Now there's some hard ones though, like Head Trauma, I don't like that one. I don't like the Solar System, Suicide King, Curse.
The Bible and so forth. There doesn't
There's
seem
some
to be
I
much
don't
difference
like.
really in the prophecy at all. And it's one of great destruction and war and so forth, and it's certainly a bad time to be in Europe. So it says it's the child of the evil one, the child of destruction it's called. There will be a deadly adversary to knowledge, wisdom, and truth.
But I'll be back on in a bit if you want to check out some more gameplay. I gotta do a few things. I gotta do a couple errands, get ready for
that. There is against the truth of creation is what the 666 actually stands for. We think of it as the Antichrist.
Thank you for checking me out.
We're told by